Have you ever sat down to do something important and within 5 minutes, your brain just checked out? You open your laptop, you're ready, you want to focus. But somehow you're switching tabs, checking your phone, thinking about something random, and suddenly you're not even doing the task anymore. And then comes the worst part. You tell yourself, why am I like this? Why can't I just focus? Am I just lazy? But what if I told you you're not lazy? What if the real problem is something you've never even heard of? Something that's been quietly training your brain every single day. It's called attention fragmentation. Attention fragmentation is what happens when your focus gets broken into pieces. So many pieces that your brain forgets how to stay on one thing. And the scary part, it feels normal. Because it doesn't look like failure. It looks like checking one notification, watching one short video, switching task for a second, replying to a quick message. None of these feel like a problem, but together, they completely destroy your ability to focus.
There's this thing called attention fragmentation, and it's why your focus feels broken. Every time you scroll or switch tabs, you train your brain to expect interruption, like when you scroll on your phone while watching a movie, for example. Neuroscience calls this context switching, and it comes with a cost. Your brain takes time to refocus every time it jumps. But in a fragmented digital world like ours, your brain never actually gets that time. And the things that suffer are your ability to go deep, your concentration, and your ability to create something meaningful. Nobody wants that, right? But here's the crazy part. Your brain actually likes the switching because it gives you a dopamine hit every time. That's why we're glued to our phones even though it's making us miserable. Philosopher Herbert Simon warned us about this decades ago. He said, "A wealth of information creates a poverty of attention." I love that quote. So I want you to just become aware of how much you actually check your phone or switch from one task to another.
I didn't realize this was happening to me. I thought I just had no discipline. I would sit down to study or work and within minutes I'd feel restless, uncomfortable, almost like my brain was rejecting the task. So I'd grab my phone just for a second. That second would turn into 10 minutes, sometimes an hour, then I'd feel guilty. Close everything, try again, and the same thing would happen over and over again. That cycle, it's exhausting because it makes you feel like you're trying but getting nowhere. And eventually you start believing something is wrong with you. But here's the truth I had to face. My brain wasn't broken. It was trained. Trained to expect constant stimulation. Trained to switch quickly. Trained to avoid stillness. Think about your day. How many times do you check your phone without thinking? Open multiple apps at once. Watch short videos back to back. Jump between tasks without finishing. That's not random, that's conditioning. Every time you switch your attention quickly, you're teaching your brain focus doesn't need to last. So when you finally sit down to do something that requires focus, your brain resists. Not because you're lazy, but because it's not used to it anymore. That's attention fragmentation. It's not that you can't focus. It's that your focus has been broken into pieces. And trying to force yourself to concentrate without fixing the root problem, it's like trying to run on a broken leg. You can try, but it won't work for long. I had to stop blaming myself and start observing my habits because the problem wasn't during the work. The problem was everything outside of it. The constant scrolling, the endless notifications, the habit of always needing something in the background. Music, videos, conversations, silence felt uncomfortable. And that's when I realized something important. If your brain can't handle silence, it won't handle focus. Because focus is silence. It's you and one task. No switching, no stimulation, no escape. And if your brain is addicted to constant input, that feels unbearable. So it runs. It looks for something easier, faster, more stimulating. That's why you end up on your phone even when you don't want to be. That's not laziness, that's dependency. And once I saw that clearly, I stopped trying to push harder. Because pushing harder doesn't fix fragmentation. It just makes you more frustrated. So I changed my approach. I didn't start with productivity, I started with my attention. The first thing I did, I reduced the constant switching. Not completely, let's be realistic. But I became aware of it. Instead of opening 5 apps at once, I stayed on one. Instead of checking my phone every few minutes, I delayed it. Even small changes mattered. Because I was retraining my brain, I was teaching it. You don't need constant stimulation. At first, it felt uncomfortable, boring, slow, almost frustrating. But that's part of the process. Your brain is adjusting. It's used to fast dopamine, quick rewards, instant satisfaction. So when you remove that, it feels like something is missing. But what's actually happening is you're rebuilding your focus, and that takes time. Another thing I changed, I stopped expecting myself to focus for hours. That's unrealistic when your attention is fragmented. Instead, I started small, 10 minutes, that's it. One task, no switching, and even that felt hard at first. But I stuck with it because consistency mattered more than intensity. Over time, those 10 minutes became 20, then 30. And something started changing. My brain felt calmer, less scattered, less restless, not perfect but better. And that's the key. You're not aiming for the perfect focus, you're rebuilding it. Another thing that worked for me is creating friction. Making distractions harder to access. Not deleting everything, not going extreme, just small barriers. Putting my phone out of reach, turning off unnecessary notifications, closing tabs I didn't need. Those things sound simple, but they matter. Because when distractions are easy, your brain will choose them automatically. When they are harder, you get a moment to choose differently. And those moments add up. Here's something most people don't realize. Focus is not just about discipline, it's about environment. If your environment is full of distractions, your focus will always struggle. So instead of blaming yourself, fix what's around you. Now let's talk about something deeper. Attention fragmentation doesn't just affect your work. It affects how you experience your life. You stop being present. You're always half focused, half distracted, half there. Even in conversations, even in moments that matter. And over time, that creates a strange feeling. Like you're living your life but not fully experiencing it. That's the real cost. Not just lost productivity but lost awareness, lost connection, because when your attention is everywhere, it's nowhere. And that's not how you want to live. So if you've been calling yourself lazy, stop. That label is not helping you. It's just hiding the real issue. You don't need more motivation. You don't need to try harder. You need to rebuild your attention step by step. Start noticing how often you switch, how often you reach for your phone, how uncomfortable silence feels. Don't judge it, just see it. Because awareness is where change begins. Then start small. One task, a few minutes, no switching. That's it. You don't fix fragmentation overnight, but you can reverse it. And once you do, everything changes. Work becomes easier, thinking becomes clearer. You feel more in control. Not because life got simpler, but because your mind got stronger. So next time you feel like you can't focus, don't jump to I'm lazy. Ask yourself, where is my attention going? Because that's where the answer is. And once you take control of that, you take control of everything else. If this video made you see things differently, like this video and I'll see you in the next one.